Episode 66. I don't think that guy's ever going to lift that box. Well, unless the developers retouch this area and relieve that guy from his fate. We have just now gotten our brand new fancy Zodiac weapon. The lowest base tier. That's even worse than what we already have. But Komori doesn't know that yet. So what we're going to do is test it out. And where better to test it out than the Hall of the Novice. The new stuff added in patch 7.1, specifically to make new players realize, or to teach them, how all of these markers work that appear in later levels. It probably doesn't cover everything, but I imagine this introductory course gives them a good idea of what they can expect in terms of teamwork. Let's have a look ourselves, while Komori gets used to this book or whatever. Welcome, Mistress Moiko. In this training exercise, we will have you carry out a variety of common evasive maneuvers. My agent here will serve as your opponent. Try to get a sense for her oncoming attacks and handle them accordingly. Can do. Take your starting position when you are ready to begin. Oh, that's already new for the Hall of the Novice. They didn't have this technology back when the original missions came out, I guess. As you doubtless know, no few magics strike a wide radius around a given target. The marker of such an attack will often look like this. If you sense that you've been marked, you do well to move away from your allies so they aren't caught in the blast. The danger is greater still if an ally is targeted at the same time. Stand too close to one another and you will suffer double the impact. Let the exercise begin. So we want that to only hit the Lalafell, right? No? Okay. Lalafell stick together, right? Even with damage markers? I guess not. To start the next exercise, take your starting position. Where? Oh. Like clockwork. Our next exercise features a strike so powerful, it cannot be endured alone. Allow me to demonstrate its marker. Have we seen a stack marker yet? Has that been in part of the trials or dungeons we've been in? Maybe not. Should the enemy perform such an attack, you and your allies must stand together in order to weather it. Upon sensing this marker, locate its target, and make your way there as quick as you can. Let the exercise begin. I think the developers did did a good job determining how to intuitively design these so that even if you don't go through this training, you get an idea of what you're supposed to do. I mean, the arrows are a pretty clear indicator, and the previous one was pretty obviously a circle over you. Oh, adventurers, I'm given to understand. I lost it. Oh, here it is. Among you adventurers, I'm given to understand that these are known as stack markers. Rings odd to my ear, but I suppose it matters not. Is that not the official name? Is that like a colloquial name? Well, it's real now. It's in the Hall of the Novice. To start the next exercise, take your starting position. Next, we will look at a lethal variety of attack that none but a tank can handle. Behold its marker. It looks very dangerous. It looks like someone doesn't want to stand near it. Remember, only the tank is equipped to survive a blow of this magnitude. Any other condensed blast won't be left standing. Now for a proper demonstration. Everyone position yourself so that the tank may shield against this strike alone. Let the exercise begin. What they didn't mention is that the yellow ticker tape indicates that it's going to be shot in a line, rather than centered on the tank. A line from the enemy to the tank. That's a big one. These attacks pack quite a punch. Should it fall to you to deal with it, you'd do well to employ what abilities you have to lighten the damage. To start the next exercise, take your starting position. In training. Huh. Next, let us practice how to handle a more persistent threat. Take note of this marker. Huh. Okay, this one, new players probably have to learn about. What will follow is a chain of attacks that chase you doggedly. You must stay on the move, all while keeping away from your allies. What was that last part? Chase the Lalafell with this marker? Well, I don't want to share it. It's mine. It's okay to put it on this guy, though. Go on. Why are you hitting yourself? Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Now come and speak with me if you'd like to attempt my final challenge. Okay. Now that you've learned the basics, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. Overcome this final challenge, and your training will be complete. We will now begin the final challenge. Once you are prepared, take your starting position. Allow me to test all that you have learned thus far. In this exercise, you will face a slew of different attacks, each of which you must deal with appropriately to minimize the harm you sustain. Let the exercise begin. Well, you didn't teach us that. Huh, in and out mechanics. That's a new one. Well, people can learn on the go, right? You don't have to teach them everything. Get out here, Carbuncle. Hey, I was going that way. Guess I'll go this way. But which way are you running? Clockwise or counterclockwise? Alright, we're agreed then. I'm pleased you took the lesson to heart. Now teach me XIV. I don't actually know XIV. You've handled every last threat with finesse. It is with pleasure that I declare you have passed the challenge. That was great and all, but Komori didn't get the chance to test her book. Maybe in the next one. Welcome, Mistress Moriko, in this training exercise. we'll have you carry out a medley of cutting-edge tactical maneuvers. My agent here will serve as your opponent. Try to get a sense for her oncoming attacks, and handle them accordingly. Take your starting position. Over there. Okay. Oh, 4 corners. First, let's discuss knockback attacks. The marker will look like this. Could have sworn we'd seen a marker or a knockback before, but maybe not. Maybe they don't add them until later. As soon as you sense it, you'll have but a few moments to position yourself before you are pushed back a set distance from its point of impact. For this exercise, I have placed a ring of lightning ether around the arena. Your goal is to position yourself such that you won't be sent hurtling into it. Let the exercise begin. Komori is smarter than your marker. Bravo, Mistress Moriko. To start the next exercise, take your starting position. Of course, that only comes with a 120 cooldown, so we can't do that forever. One day, the Black Mage will have to move. While we're at it, let's review a common variant. Take note of this marker. Yes, this could be confusing for a new player. Unlike last time, I don't recommend you stand directly in the center of it, lest you receive a most painful blow to the skull. And so, once more, I challenge you to avoid being flung into the lightning. Where will you stand this time? Let the exercise begin. Well, we could barrier ourselves and stand inside it, but we won't. If our ley lines were in it, we would consider it. Not that I've unlocked ley lines yet. Next, we'll demonstrate a proximity attack. Its marker pulses outward, like so. We've seen these. With these, the closer you are to the point of impact, the greater the damage you stand to take. Thus, whenever you see that ominous light pulsing along the ground, I advise you to distance yourself as much as possible. Let the exercise begin. These were in the Castrum level 50 main quest raids. But I guess a new player can take this on whenever they want, as early as like level 15 or maybe earlier. Barely a scratch, eh? Sometimes the simplest solution is to get the hells out of there, so to speak. To start the next exercise, get to your starting position. 4 corners again. Next, let's move on to tower tactics. This type of attack is one that must be endured rather than avoided. So they are called towers. See the tower marker? If no one stands inside to weaken its impact, the entire party will suffer a devastating blow. Therefore, one person must volunteer to take the tower, shielding the rest of the party from far greater casualties. That means you. Let the exercise begin. Come on, get in it. Well, I guess he got in it. Can Carbuncle take a tower? I guess not. Now let's cover a variant of the tower marker. Again, one you'll need to stand inside to protect the others. I guess that's also called a tower. I never thought of it as such, but I guess it's the same thing. Lest you forget, if the tower goes unoccupied, the entire party will pay the price. In this case, you must ensure that you are standing within the bounds of the circle before the arcane orb strikes the ground. Yeah, functionally it's the same thing, but I guess this one has a visual marker, so it's superior. But the tower looks more intimidating. I guess the tower also gives you kind of a horizontal line of sight to it. But this one also stands pretty tall, so you'd be able to see it from anywhere. Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Now come and speak with me, if you'd like to attempt my final challenge. Now that you've learned the basics, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. Overcome this final challenge, and your training will be complete. We will now begin the final challenge. Starting position. Allow me to test all that you have learned thus far. In this exercise, you will face a slew of different attacks, each of which you must deal with appropriately to minimize the harm you sustain. Let the exercise begin. Not moving from this spot. Could have varied that, I guess. Your grasp of combat tactics is commendable indeed, Mistress Moriko. Oh, you want to do that, huh? Then I guess I'll take this one. Okay, fine, you take that one. I was already standing in it, sure. Masterfully judged. You handled that flawlessly. And of course, the way to cheat this, which is also, I guess, good teaching on their part, is to simply watch your teammates and do what they do, or something similar to what they do. Precisely what I had hoped to see. That is also a useful skill to learn. Do what your teammates do. I'm pleased you took the lesson to heart. You handled every last threat with finesse. It is with my pleasure that I declare you have passed the challenge. Yes, but when do we get to the part where Komori gets to attack? How else is she going to use this thing? Surely in the last one. Welcome, Mistress Moriko. In this training exercise, we will have you carry out even more advanced tactical maneuvers. My agent here will serve as your opponent. Try to get a sense for her oncoming attacks, and handle them accordingly. To your starting position. Ah, she's in the center this time. For your first exercise, allow me to demonstrate the proximity tether. Its marker looks like this. When entangled with one of these, to remain near the enemy is to risk suffering a painful strike. Yes, I do guess some beginners have some difficulty with that one. Instead, use what precious few moments you have to retreat until the tether's magic weakens. New players probably look at it and don't realize that they can do something about it. Maybe they think something is going to happen later, but not that they're meant to do something right now, to stand far away. I think they changed the way the tether looks at some point so that it has arrows pointing away from you and the target. Starting position. Or I might be remembering that wrong. Maybe it's always looked like that. Before we move on, there is another type of tether attack I wish to cover. Take note of this marker. Huh, right. This one's for tanks. But good to teach people. Unlike proximity tethers, these can be intercepted at will, allowing you to sustain a blow on another's behalf. Well, they're not always for tanks. For this exercise, let's suppose your enemy intends to detonate a bomb. To prevent a lethal explosion, your only recourse is to shield the bomb yourself. Let the exercise begin. I guess even if the tether is meant for a tank. Cool. I shielded it. Even if it is meant for a tank, it's good that the player would know not to run in front of the tank. Or to pass it off to a tank. Next I will teach you how to defend against a gaze attack. Behold, the gaze marker. The gaze. The Eye of Providence, or perhaps the Eye of Ra. When the spell is cast, all those facing its direction will suffer some manner of unpleasant effect. In this case, petrification. Fortunately, the solution is simple. You need but turn away from the enemy to neutralize its effects entirely. Or just close your eyes and hope it doesn't hit you. No, not really. I guess it goes through your eyelids. But it can't penetrate the back of your thick skull. The difficulty with this one is if you're attacking, each time you cast an attack, whether you're any class, you'll turn to face the opponent. So you also typically want to stop attacking when that happens. I think even auto attack might turn you around. Maybe not. For your next exercise, let us discuss status effects such as poison or paralysis, and more importantly, the curing thereof. That means you, buddy. While there are full many varieties of combat ailments, a fair few can be swiftly removed with Asuna. For this exercise, let's see you evade the attack as soon as Asuna has done its job. I guess even if you're not learning how to use Asuna, it's teaching you that you're not necessarily unable to do anything for these 10 seconds you're bound. You can expect one of your teammates to cast Asuna on you. Next time quicker, buddy. I guess they don't let you use Asuna on yourself by giving you amnesia. Spectacular work. With that, your basic training is complete. Now come and speak with me, if you'd like to attempt my final challenge. Now that you've learned the basics, yada yada, take your starting position. I've read all your dialogue up until now, but at the very end I feel like skipping it. I've had enough of him, I guess. Allow me to test all that you have learned thus far. In this exercise, you will face a slew of different attacks, each of which you must deal with appropriately to minimize the harm you sustain. Begin. Okay. Can I pass this off? No. It'd still be targeting the bomb. Which one goes off first? The circle first. If you were playing on legacy controls or the other controls, you could walk backwards. I think I'm actually on legacy controls. What's the other one? You, me first. I said me first. Really? Is this revenge? Well, at least he saved himself for last. Carbuncle, no! I'm pleased you took the lesson to heart. You neutralized every threat with practiced precision. Needless to say, you passed my final challenge with flying colors. And we got the new ring. This will only help us for a few more levels. Not really that much of that. But it'll help us, more importantly, on any new classes we pick up later down the line. Now I assume it's going to outclass our current ring. Yeah. Let's go ahead and reset everything for that. Well, this one doesn't really matter, but it's fine. We'll equip it. Oops. I'm going to have to fix the earring later. Oh well. Are my portraits okay? They also changed the way the portraits work, or the way that they update in 7.1, to make it easier. But I still have to check every time. Well, Komori didn't get a chance to use her book after all. So much for training. Of course, that was just my excuse to check out the new content there. I don't really need to see any of that. The ring is reward enough, but I was mainly interested in seeing how they teach new players. Compared to the regular Hall of the Novice, I guess those sorts of things are more important for, I guess, later content. Whereas the regular Hall of the Novice just teaches basic partying mechanics, multiplayer stuff, going through dungeons, and basic game mechanics, things like that. Anyway. If we're continuing on the quest to give Komori a chance to test out her book, which actually is now glamoured by mistake. There we go. This book. If we're going to test this out, then we're going to need some kind of testing ground other than the Hall of the Novice. So my excuse now where is it? Actually, did I even accept that quest? I did. Let's finish up the last of the things that we have on the list here. A level 50 side quest dungeon. My goal, of course, is to complete all of the side content as it was released with each patch. I've currently completed all the side dungeons in the base game, except for this one. This is the last side dungeon of 2.0. And then I can move on to 2.1 stuff. But before I even do that, there are still some 2.0 things that are not dungeons I want to get through. I'll worry about that later. They improved this area too, didn't they? I don't think it always looked like this, did it? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but... just like that area near Vesper Bay, I feel like they added a bunch of foliage here. Made it look better or something. Well, maybe it always looked like this. The Wanderer's Palace. Like most of the side dungeons we went through, we were just given a side quest that told us, hey, check out this dungeon. And there really wasn't any more story to it other than that. Were we to finish this dungeon, there would be no follow-up. Oh. This is a mark of one of the gods. I didn't even realize. I guess for November this would be... who is this, Altic? One of the water ones or something? Well, whoever it is, it's their month because it's shining right now. For once, we're actually taking on a side dungeon with the express purpose of going in there to test our abilities. You're one of Aline's, ain't you? That one's got a ghost in her attic, you know. Keeps sending other venturers to that damn place she calls a palace. Thinking you're going to bring her feller back. There were 7 of us that day. One of them her feller. My best friend was another. Soon as we walked in, a Tonberry attacked. It was dark, and we couldn't get purchase on the floor. Had trouble reading that. And we couldn't get purchase on the floor, for it was covered in lake slime, then in blood. What's more there to say? Only Aline and I made it out by grace of the 12. Everyone else is dead. Think I'd leave them behind, leave my brother by another blood, if I hadn't seen what the Tonberry left. I saw no treasure there, only death. I've paid my piece, or said my piece. Still want to see for yourself, that's your business. I'll ferry you there, for my adventuring days are over, and I'm the boatman of this lake. She thinks they all live, you see. All 5 of them, hiding from the Tonberry somewhere in the palace. She tried to flee the infirmary. She told folk about her friends needing rescue. Then she got sly. Poor lost Aline. I guess that's technically the end of the quest, but I feel like this could have wrapped up nicely if, we finished the dungeon and then, I don't know, talked to Aline. To maybe give her some closure or something. But that's not how these early dungeons were written. Our only reason for going in is just to go in, because it's there. And the wait time for this should be much quicker since I'm still not in the Dynamis data center, but in Primal. Wait. I still have the naval selected. There we go. Okay. That's actually not as quick as I was hoping. Well, guess we'll wait with this guy. The Wanderer's Palace. The Wanderer, of course, is Oshan, the Wanderer, one of the 12. It was actually Oshan's mark that I mistook for someone else's outside. Are those Aline's friends? Why were they targetable? I need Carbuncle out. They're targetable, those adventurers, for a brief moment for some reason. Wonder why. Can you kill them? If they're Lean's friends, it wouldn't really make sense. Oh. Pulling them all the way, huh? Why'd I get interrupted? They died, I guess? Do not allow the Tonberry Stalker to catch you? I thought that was the hard mode version of this. Well, we'll see the Tonberry Stalker again. I do want to get that guy on camera. And the sound of leveling up, oh. Gotta make sure that's something I can actually trade in. The sound of leveling up makes me remember I need to eat food for extra experience. I think I moved fast. Good on him. Flask of lantern oil, but remember to pick that up. Well, you remember too. Use the oil to unrust the device. Of which there are multiple. Did we miss any? Oh hey, more of these guys. Well, I'd love to capture it on camera, but my teammates are moving. That's the Tonberry Stalker, of course. What happens to those guys? Did they die? I've said before that there's no real lore to these dungeons, but... Ow. Yep, these are the guys you're supposed to run from. Ouch. I could have done a better job at avoiding them, but if I want to follow the tank, this is the quickest route. We got a guy. Is the tank okay with that? Well, I guess we're just ignoring it. This is not the way you're supposed to do this mechanic. You're supposed to run. I guess that's everything. What happened to those two guys, though? Wonder if we'll see them again. Maybe their HP was drained to 0. We'll never know. I wonder what the sign was going to do. Something lewd, perhaps? We'll never know. A targeted attack. Doing my best to sidecast to keep up movement, but don't have the exact timing. More lantern light. I can only assume those two guys died. Yes, I guess the Tomberry Stalker chases you down the long corridors as well, forcing you to take out the enemies quicker. Now what do we do about these guys? Do we just ignore them or what? Killing a Tomberry gives the king Rancor, so you want to do that as infrequently as possible. But if you ignore them, I guess they dogpile on the tank. I don't know the exact mechanic, but we don't have to worry about mechanics. We're kind of over-leveled. Wow, that ass. Guess this guy was also good doing it the first time. I did notice that guy was killed by the Tomberry Stalker, unceremoniously. Probably didn't realize that thing did a huge amount of damage. Well, Komori did get a chance to use her book, and she decided it's shit. This relic is nothing it's cracked up to be. Of course, there are 7 more levels to the relic that maybe makes it worth her time, but Komori doesn't care. I've decided. We're just going back to this. Maybe we'll do one of the later relics if we ever get around to one of the other expansions. Some of the relics are actually fun content. Completely original stuff. Oh, that went by quicker than I expected. Guess I have, I don't know, 15 minutes remaining. That's enough time for another dungeon, but I have no more dungeons left in my list. I could take on one of the 2.1 dungeons or something. But there's a bunch of other 2.0 stuff or miscellaneous stuff that I am okay with doing other than the dungeons. I know. Let's go over here. This won't take up much time, but it'll at least give me some breathing room to think about what to do next. Oof, this place is heavily populated compared to my data center. To the Arcanist Guild. We actually unlocked a new role quest at level 50, but it's not actually a role quest. Not really. The next actual Summoner quest is at level 50, but you have to complete the patch 2.5 story quest leading into the next expansion. What we unlock here is, I guess, something special for Summoners. Well, if it isn't Gomoy, precisely the woman I wish to see. And we're here to see you, Dubergame, to tell you that our book is defective. You will recall Yamitra of the Sons of Saint Koinak. Well, she has recently finished compiling her research into summoning, and was kind enough to send a copy of it to our guild. I was pleased to note that you are listed as a collaborator. I must say, it is quite a fascinating read, especially the section covering those essences of primals you call Iggy. You are able to manifest the beings, yes? Wonderful. In which case, I should like your assistance with an experiment. If you are willing, pray join me in the practice area. I will reveal the details there. Leave it to Final Fantasy to give a lore reason for everything. I think this was added in a later patch, but it specifically addresses the concern that people had, and that I voiced previously, of how you're reduced to only summoning Carbuncle, where previously you could have any of these summons out at will. This doesn't actually change the way the class plays, but it's good for quality of life. My apologies for the wait. To begin with, might I ask you to call forth an Eggy? I should very much like to see one with mine own eyes. Mayhap the Ifrit Eggy would be suitable. I understand that it was the first such being to be summoned. Yes, a most impressive being indeed. Created, according to Mitra, in the image of the entity which one most closely associates with fire, Ifrit. It is my hypothesis that the same fundamental principle could be employed to alter the form of an Eggy by calling to mind another image. Pray summon the Ifrit Eggy again, but this time focus your consciousness upon Carbuncle. It shouldn't be difficult, given the bond you share. Brilliant. My theory holds. Whilst it takes the form of Carbuncle, there is no mistaking its ethereal composition. I should not imagine that the abilities it wields have changed. For all intents and purposes, it is still an Ifrit Eggy. But now we know that there is no limit to an Eggy's appearance. Well, I must be returning to my post. Let us continue this upstairs. PP is red now. That's usually a bad sign. No, that's terrible. I should cut that out. Although I guess that wasn't PP or Carbuncle. That was actually Ifrit Eggy, who is different from Carbuncle. Just looking like a Carbuncle. Komoy, you have my thanks for indulging me. This experiment has unearthed a new world of possibility for arcane entities, and I hope you will find use for the discovery. An Eggie's outward appearance can now be altered by using Pet Glamour. You can make Garuda Eggie look like Ruby Carbuncle. The text command must be executed before summoning your familiars. Entering the text command without specifying Examber will return to the default. Oh, that's kind of a spoiler, but whatever. I guess we probably saw other players with that summon out. Numbers for Summoner require this quest that we just did, and for Scholar requires the fairy thing. Now then. No real point in capturing this on camera, but I don't know how to spend the remaining time on this episode any other way. Let's have a look at how that actually works. I don't actually know the full extent of it. This worked for Carbuncle, the Garuda Titan and Ifrit Eggies, as well as Eos, who is Scholar. Not really a spoiler, I guess. And then there's some more names down there, which I guess are kind of spoilers, but, well, it doesn't matter. The only options here are the 3 colors of Carbuncle, which you already had as an Arcanist, which kind of got replaced by the other Eggies. But you can't use the fairies unless you do the other quest. Could you make an Eggie look like one of the fairies if you did both quests? Well, it doesn't matter. I guess you could make Garuda look like Titan, or you could make all 3 of them look like Titan, if you were really into Titan for some reason. Anyway, the main thing that I want to do is change the default Carbuncle. So let's just test it out. Let's see, Pet Glamour, Carbuncle. Let's go with Ifrit Eggie. And of course, as it said, only when they're unsummoned. And now, just like it was back in the day, we can have the Eggie out whenever we want. It doesn't function like the Eggie, it's still Carbuncle. But I guess that's fun. Now the question is, who do I actually want out? We could just do... That was how it goes, yes? No, no hyphen. And now our PP is yellow. You like that, PP? You like being yellow? Well, I'll probably play around with the colors and the appearances of the other Eggies sometime. Maybe I could make all of the Eggies look like Carbuncles, but then I'd just look like your rank and file Thaumaturge, or no, not Thaumaturge, Arcanist. Well, I'm fine with this. As long as it's not the default, I don't look like I'm some idiot that doesn't know how to play Summoner. Now I've customized myself. Everyone knows that the players that customize themselves are the real players. Did you customize yourself? That guy is not a real player, I'm sorry to say. Our next order of business, now that we're done with all the dungeons and we're putting a halt on the relic quests, is actually going to be all over the place. These were also in 2.0 and I wanted to get to these as soon as possible for the sake of timing. While I'm here, how many flame seals do I have? I didn't get any, whatever. The next blue things we're going to take on are here. The Beast Tribe quests. And if you're counting, that's a total of 5 Beast Tribes that we have to take on in A Realm Reborn. At least it would be 5 if we had a crafting quest, or a crafting class. Because the Ixal, for whatever reason, are crafting only. Which means we'll only take on 4 of the Beast Tribe quests. But we'll do that next time. Now would be a good time to take a break.